All right, what's going on, guys? Today, I want to talk about, my recent weight gain and, after now making videos and just reading comments, I kind of have this weird motivation to lose weight. I haven't really been taking care of myself as I should. My hygiene's just been terrible. I just put on a lot of weight. I haven't really been taking care of myself at all, really. It's kind of hard, when you live in a car, just, I've never been the type of person to make my own meals, so I kind of resorted to fast food, just takeout. I've had this new addiction of just going to Chinese buffets all the time, which I'll get into. But I do have this butane stove, which it was $40 at Walmart, and the cans are you can get them at the dollar store. But I remember this one day, basically, I was with my coworkers. I had my trunk open. We were cooking stuff. I was making instant coffee. I was boiling water, all that shit. And this one guy was like, "Hey, can I cook oatmeal?" And he cooks his oatmeal, and there's all this stuff left behind on the fucking pot. And I was like, "All right, whatever." So after work, I had to clean it out. I had to go to a McDonald's bathroom to clean it out. That was actually not even a bad day too. That was actually kind of fun. Believe it or not. But this was when I was working in construction, and I think it was last December. This was around that time when this guy he just cooks oatmeal. So I go to the McDonald's bathroom and I try scraping it all out. It was completely stuck to everything. I scraped it all up and clogged the sink in the McDonald's, and I was like, oh shit, because usually I have a bunch of ramen. That's pretty much the only thing I'll cook, and the only thing that I've looking back on it, kind of the only thing I've really ever eaten in my childhood. I mean, I didn't have the best diet in the world. I do remember the first 10 years of my life when my parents were together. My dad was a hunter. He would fish. He was a mechanic. We lived in the fucking middle of nowhere because I was originally born in New York City, but after 9/11, my mom was like, "It's not safe here. We gotta leave." And so we ended up just going to my father's roots. And from my childhood, I just remember he would just have his fucking friends over. They'd be drinking beer, shooting shotguns. I think the earliest memory I even have of my dad is I remember I was a little kid, and he was shooting a shotgun into the air, and I remember holding my ears and coming up to him, and I was like, "Dad, what the fuck are you doing?" And he goes, I think he was, I don't know, he was always drunk, but he was like, "I'm just separating the clouds." And I just walked away. Now that I think about it now, I'm like, what the, it's just so weird. But, he would essentially hunt. We would have we would usually just eat meat. It wasn't bad at all. It was actually high quality, good food. He was a deer hunter. We would go to the butcher all the time, and they would make me these sort of beef jerky sticks out of it, which were really fucking good. But I didn't eat shit, growing up, until my parents got divorced, which was a complete disaster, because what you have to understand is, it was just very, right back to New York City, and, living with my grandmother for a year, not even a few months before she was like, "I can't take you and your kid. You guys are stressing me out. I'm going to go live somewhere else." So pretty much my mom had to work 3 jobs, and we didn't have any money, at all. So my diet consisted of legitimately just ramen noodles. There was this whole, I swear to God, this whole entire just wall of ramen noodles, just completely stacked. Cause back then, a decade ago, you could buy them in bulk. You get the 12-pack ones, you buy them in bulk, you get this massive discount, and it's just it's just dirt. It's like prison food. Even in school, they had me in the free lunch program because, I was poor. And even that, when I would go to school, all you could ever choose from was this, you would get this greasy slice of this half slice of pizza, and that was it. Or a chicken patty that was the size of a White Castle burger, or this little small, it was a cheese steak that was just covered in grease. And it always tasted like crap, the chicken patties. It was always undercooked. The buns were always like rock hard. And then I remember like Obama, he made it so that like, oh, you have to get vegetables with your lunches, and no one ever ate that shit. They would give you like this little tiny cup of like 2 baby carrots or like 2 celery sticks. Like everyone would just launch them across the room. And, you know, at the time growing up, you know, throughout middle school and high school, pretty much, like my mom, she was always like a paranoid person as it was. So I wasn't allowed to use the stove. I wasn't allowed to, you know, use the oven. I could really only use the microwave. And ramen was the only thing I ever ate. I would eat like 4 to 5 packs a day, like right after school. And I was a big kid in school for sure. You know, like I always struggled with my weight, like after my parents got divorced, but like that was it. So I'd have like this terrible lunch, and then right after I would have like the just ramen. And I was such a fucking idiot that I, you know, cause you would put them in like these trays, throw them in the microwave for like 4 minutes. I would make 2 at a time. And for just some reason in my head, I thought that, you know, if I put 2 in for 8 minutes and I doubled the time, like that's how it worked, when that's just not how it worked at all. And I always wondered why it tasted terrible. It didn't even like click till like years later. I'm like, oh, this is what I have to do. You know, and like since my mom was working 3 jobs, she would usually just come home from work at like, you know, 10 p.m., 11 p.m. and just drop off like very lukewarm, like fast food, like, you know, Burger King. They used to have this deal back in the day. It was like for $3 you can get like a large soda, fries, nuggets, and like a small Whopper for $3, you know, if you had like the app or whatever. And I was eating like so many calories of just nothing pretty much. And the bad part about it too was, you know, my mom wouldn't let me play video games after school. She thought it would like fuck with my it was like messing with my education, when, you know, in reality, like it wouldn't have mattered. Like if you didn't know this, like I almost like didn't graduate high school. Like I had terrible grades. I couldn't pay attention with like anything at all. So it would take like the controllers to work. I wouldn't be able to play video games. It literally wouldn't have made a difference. You know, I didn't have the internet at all. We couldn't afford a laptop or anything like that. I remember, you know, I got my first laptop when I went to college. For some reason, they're like, damn, you're poor. So they gave me a free laptop and $500 for just to spend on anything. So I just like kind of held on to it. But this was like, I couldn't, you know, when I would come home, I just essentially just fucking stared at a wall. You know, I couldn't do anything. I would come home after, you know, school, just being like completely tired, just eating ramen. Sometimes, you know, she would leave me like $20 to get like some pizza, like to order a pizza. Like she wouldn't let me leave the house. I don't know, she was just like very paranoid, you know. And I would just go to my room. I wouldn't even really do my homework. I would just go to my room and just stare at a wall every single day. You know, kids would fucking ride their bikes to my house and throw rocks at my fucking window. I swear to God, you know. And I even remember, I don't know why the fuck I did this. I have no idea. But like there was this like group of kids that like I kind of knew. Like I wouldn't say I was friends with them. But I guess since I was like so bored, for some reason I would leave my door open. They would come by like on their bikes, and I would hide somewhere in my house, and they would like try and find me. It was like the stupidest shit. And when they would find me, they would just leave. And I remember one of the days, like, because I had a dog, and he would piss and shit all over the house because my mom wouldn't let me, like, she was scared I was gonna fucking get robbed or whatever. So I would just be sitting in this house just cleaning up like shit and piss from my dog. And I remember this kid found like my dog's shit, and we had like this bowl of like mandarin oranges that were completely rotten. And he goes over, he takes one, he takes the dog shit, and I'm like hiding under the table like laughing. And I poke my head out, and he just throws this dog shit and mandarin orange at me and just fucking leaves. And I think that was like the last time. It was only like a few times, like maybe like 10 times this happened. And like when I look back on it now, it's like, what the fuck was, like, what was even the point of that? You know, I think it's just because I was like so bored, you know, like I would literally, I just stare at a wall. Like I had no internet, I had no anything to really do, you know, I didn't watch TV or anything like that. and I would just eat this ramen almost like a prisoner. Like, how the fuck is this any like really different, you know? I would just walk home and just stare at a wall. And it got so bad to the point, and I didn't even know really, like looking back on it now, like, you know, because, yeah, ramen was the only thing we could really afford. And, like, no wonder, like, my brain was just probably completely derived of just nutrients. Like, what genuinely is, like, the beneficial value to, like, instant ramen? Like, I know, like, Japanese people have, like, actual, like, quote-unquote healthy ramen. Like, they'll throw, like, a hard-boiled egg with, like, pork and like other stuff like vegetables in it, which is like not bad for you, but like just like the microwavable one with like just noodles and broth, how is that in any way like nutritious to you? You know, and I even remember it got so bad to the point, you know, because yeah, I wasn't allowed to play video games. She's like, oh, it's gonna affect your school life, and I failed everything. I was terrible in school, and I didn't actually, you know, I've you know, mentioned this before, I didn't actually learn how to properly read and write until I got to college, you know. I remember like I saw this article not too long ago. It was like this woman was suing her high school because they didn't teach her how to read and write. And I believe it, you know, because I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. Like I couldn't, like what would happen pretty much was, for the homework, because like I would be failing everything and I'd try to get my grade up with the homework sometimes, and what would happen was like during the end of class I had this notebook and I would just write like whatever the teacher put on the wall. Like let's say it was like English class, they had like this whiteboard with like the Sharpie, they would write like Beowulf is the best whatever, and just like write like a bunch of words, and I would just copy the letters onto the notebook, and they would give me homework, and like it could be like whatever question it was, like, oh, how did this happen in this, and I would just flip my notebook open to like something they said that day and just write it, just copy the letters onto like the question, even though it's completely unrelated. And you know, most teachers don't give a fuck anyway. They just want to see if you completed it. But like it was like so bad for math class, you know, like I had, you know, this woman up my ass all the time because like I would just copy down like the was it not even the equations, but like just like random problems. I would just copy them down from like the bulletin board, and when I get the homework, you know, when I would go home and get the homework, it could be like you know, I don't know, what's 1/8 divided by 2/5 times 5, you know, something like that. And I would just open the notebook, just copy down like something she wrote on the thing. And she would like, you know, she was an older woman. She would look at it and be like, you know, you're messing with me. You know, you're not trying at all. But genuinely, I didn't know what the fuck I had no clue. I was so clueless. Like I had no idea what like I was doing. You know, no one ever helped me. It just, I just couldn't fucking pay attention. I was always like so tired and like fatigued. Like, you know that feeling, right? When you wake up and you're just like, you don't want to get out of bed. You just want to sleep for like another like fucking 2 hours. You're just so fucking tired. That's how I felt 24/7. And not to mention too, you know, I got recently diagnosed with Klinefelter syndrome, which, you know, I had just low levels of testosterone and all this shit anyway. You know, learning disability is a pretty common thing with Klinefelter syndrome as well. So, you know, she would just like, and that was like that kind of started like the whole big fight of like, oh, he needs special needs classes. I think he's very severely learning disabled. And my mom would have to go to the school all the time and be like, he's fine, keep him in the normal class. Because like I had that same woman as a math teacher for like 3 years. You know, I got held back like so many times for it. And I would be like with the freshmen as like a sophomore. When I was a junior, I'd be with the sophomores. Like I was always like a year behind with it. And it was just fucking hell. Like not only did I have to worry about like getting my ass whooped at school and getting fucking bullied and shit, like I was always like in a constant state of like panic and fight or flight from that. That was like always on my mind. So I couldn't focus regardless, you know. And my brain was just getting fucking starved from eating this prison fucking garbage food all the time. Just no protein, just skinny fat as hell, just muscles completely just atrophied to death, you know. and it completely sucked. Like, I just want to know what was like going through, like, with this woman's, like, going through this woman's head, you know, when she goes home, like, because I would have to, she like demanded like for after school tutoring, and I just couldn't do anything. Like, she must have like went home to her husband and been like, like, oh, husband, oofy doofy husband, I know our relationship and marriage is failing and our kids hate you, but you got to get a load of this kid at school. He's a fucking moron. Like, I want to know what like went through her head, because I still to this day really can't do basic math, I just never learned. It's very easy now, I think, especially too with like AI and everything, to just fucking graduate school without actually even learning anything and learning how to read or write, like when I got to college, like everything kind of clicked, I just, before COVID, I had this teacher like actually sit me down and like teach me how to write and teach me like the English language. And it just like that just kind of like clicked. Cause like how I went through middle school and high school was just like copying other shit. Like I didn't even know what these words meant, guys. That's how bad, like that's how fucked the school system is. He's special needs though. I think I just needed a good teacher and like a fucking support system, not coming home to like, cause yeah, I didn't have the internet. I couldn't Google anything. I couldn't watch some guy on YouTube explain like, oh, this is how to do this. I would literally just go up to my room so tired. I would cook like 5 ramen noodles and just stare at a wall and just think about like a lot of just like traumatizing shit and just, bullshit. It just sucked. Pretty much. And yeah, my brain was just fucked of like nutrients probably. I mean, the thing too is like, I've always had like really thin and greasy hair. I don't know, like when I got like official blood work done last year, this guy was like, the fucking doctor, he's like, I don't know how you're like alive pretty much. He's like, I like my whole years of doing this, I've never seen somebody with such like, low vitamin D levels and vitamin B12. Like he gave me injections right away. He's like I don't know how you're not like just fucking sleeping 24/7 pretty much. And this was before I got diagnosed with Klinefelter's too. So I don't know. My diet has always never been the best. And now since like I live in my car, I'm ordering so much takeout. I'm going to Chinese buffets. I really just don't even, I don't care, and I just, cause what happens now, like I remember them saying too, I was like pre-diabetic or something. And the doctor at the time was like, well, diabetes can be reversed. So like, you're good. And I was like, okay. So I just started stuffing my face with shit, thinking like I had like all the time in the world and stuff. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if I'm pre-diabetic now. Like, I'm getting pretty fucking big, man, and it just came on like that, like just eating carbs, and like I turned to alcohol, unfortunately, to like keep me motivated, which is like the worst thing you could put in your body. So like all these carbs and just calories over the past year I've just been consuming since like, I'm not bound to anything anymore. Like I can like live my life how I want to. I don't have to like, I don't talk to my family anymore or anything like that. But that's actually another thing, like what I want to actually say. Like, I mean, let's just like, just remember this shit that I wanted to talk about. So, I had a work accident, like maybe, I don't know, mid-January, where I fractured both of my feet, and it was like a pretty bad injury. I had to like have surgery on my left foot, and I couldn't get into contact with anyone from my family. Like my fucking parents, they're old. You can't, like, they don't have any social media. They have no, like, nothing on them at all, and that's how I kind of got into contact with my cousin, and explained to her the situation, all that stuff. They gave me this fucking wheelchair, which I didn't even need. It was like so much, oh my God, it was like so much money to like pay for it too, but they're like, no, like, cause I really, at this point in my life, I don't trust doctors with like my health or anything like that, because like, just because you have a piece of paper, like, I don't know, because these people were telling me, they're like, oh, it's going to take like maybe a few months for you to fully heal, from your fractures and breaks. And, you're going to need physical therapy for years. And I even remember the last time I saw the doctor, he was like demanding physical therapy. I'm like, I feel okay. Like, I'm in pain a little bit. Like, my feet still, like, I'll have, like, random, like, pain. But it's not even, like, it's the worst thing in the world. It's not, like, it's, like, very rare. But, like, it just feels like I'm back to normal again almost pretty much. And this guy's telling me, like, yeah, you're going to need some physical therapy, a.k.a., oh, I don't get paid enough for this shit, and I need to scam you out of more insurance money. You know? But I would just, you know, when I was living with my cousin, I would just DoorDash fucking food all the time. I was laying in this fucking bed with, like, these steel, like, metallic boots on my fucking feet. And that's how I found out, you know, one of my uncles died. You know, he apparently had a heart attack, and my cousin too, which this guy, you know, his diet and all, you know, the sloppening happened for him. He crashed his car, like, relatively recently, and ended up in the hospital with, like, severe spinal cord injuries. And here's the thing, right? Like, this guy, he's like 700 pounds. I'm not even kidding. Like, he definitely needs Dr. Now off of the My 600 Pound Life for sure. But he, like, I just remember, like first off, like, back in the day, he wasn't, like, really, because he's a tall guy, you know, he's, like, one of the tallest people in my family. He's, like, 6'2". You know, he's ginger like me. He kind of, I mean, nowadays, you know, I mean, he just can't stop eating, you know? Like, it's like, he legit, like, looks like Fat Bastard off of Austin Powers, you know? I can't stop eating! Like, that shit. Like, he has, like, the mutton chops, too, and everything, you know? And he's a redhead, so it's just, like, kind of comical. But, you know, he crashes his car, has to have all these surgeries. And, you know, my cousin's telling me this, and she's like, yeah, this is the fourth car he's totaled in the past decade. And I'm like, why the fuck is he driving then? She's like, oh, well, you know, his weight, he can't fit in the car properly, and since, you know, the weight, like, presses against his, like, rib cage and his lungs and his heart, so it, like, makes it so, like, he can't breathe, and he usually, like, passes out while driving and just crashes it into a wall. And I'm like, what the fuck? Because my uncle, he'll just buy him a new car. You know, my uncle's a beta bucks. He'll just buy, he did that every single time, you know, apparently. Just when he crashes a car and totals it, my uncle just buys him a new one and just gets him back on the road somehow. Like, how do does law enforcement not be like, yeah, this guy, we need to take his fucking license away? You know what I mean? Like, I mean, I've heard, you know, obviously, you know about drunk driving. I've never heard about slop driving before. I mean, what the fuck? Like, you're passing out because of your weight behind the wheel and just swerving off of the road? And that's, like, not the first time he's been in the hospital for stuff like this. And, like, I feel, like, bad for him. I'm kind of worried because it's like, you have to fucking lose weight at that point, you know? And his wife, like, kind of enables him. I mean, for fuck's sake, you know, their son, I mean, I remember this from, like, you know, a decade ago, or, like, I think I was, like, maybe 11, 12 years old. We were at, like, this family gathering, and, you know, his wife got pregnant, and she had a really bad cigarette addiction. She thought, like, she could quit when she couldn't. Like, she just was addicted, you know, and ended up just smoking throughout the whole pregnancy, drinking a little bit. Like, it was like, I remember seeing this. It just reminded me of something out of, like, a fucking comedy skit. Like, this can't be real. Like, she had a cigarette in one hand and wine in the other. My family's screaming at her, like, stop drinking, stop smoking. You know, I mean, for my dad, like, my dad's side, my grandma, she fucking smoked and drank during my dad's pregnancy, and he turned out fine. Okay, that's a lie. But, you know, essentially, she fucking, you know, yeah, just smoked. She was drinking wine. She was saying, it's healthy for me. Just eating, like, the worst food in the world. Like, she has a weight problem, too, unfortunately, you know. And, you know, they had a son, and he's one of the, I assume, like, he's a teenager now. I haven't seen him in, like, years, but he was born a very, like, over the years, and, like, my cousin was, like, in so denial over it. He's like, there's nothing wrong with my son. There's nothing wrong with him. He's fine. And my family was just trying to tell him, like, no, because he can't talk. He's, like, completely nonverbal. He's a nonverbal violent autistic. Like, he'll punch holes in the wall. He can't, like, severely learning disabled, unfortunately, and all because this woman fucking decided to smoke and drink and just eat garbage the whole pregnancy. And I'll never forget this shit. This actually pisses me off. Like, she made it all about her. I remember, like, when they finally found out, they're like, yeah, he's got, like, autism, like, severe autism, you know, Asperger's, whatever. I remember her saying, like, she was like, it wouldn't have mattered if I drank or smoked. This is all a part of God's plan. God is just testing me. This would have probably happened anyway. And, like, we don't, so they eventually had another kid, and she completely stopped, you know, smoking and all that and drinking. And, you know, they had a daughter. She's fine, you know, just like neurotypical, normal. But it still kind of pisses me off too, because, like, not only that, like, this, when their fucking son was born, like, I remember my mom lent them a bunch of money that she didn't have because they were freaking out about it. And, they never paid my mom back. You know, my cousin's wife was just talking shit about my mom all the time. And this is, again, why you should not lending people money will destroy your family and will destroy your friendships. Mark my fucking words. Don't do it. Someone asks you for money, don't give them money unless it's like a gift of some sort, right? Don't do it. Because it just completely destroyed, like, that side, like, because now, like, the wife is all mad, and my cousin, you know, since he's like a oofy doofy supreme, he won't talk to anybody really, like, you know, they don't talk to anybody, and because, like, his wife was like, I don't want you talking to your family, they're horrible people, even though I was lent, like, a bunch of money. So it's really just lame and fucking stupid to me, honestly, and I guess he just couldn't cope and just ate a bunch of shit, like, because that was just like his cope, you know, just like eating food, you know. And now he's like, I think like close to 700 is what my cousin said. But I don't know, even like, I'm gonna say this, like, even like living with her for like that month and a half, like, it was just like annoying because, like, I couldn't shower because I had like all these casts on, right? And I couldn't really walk unless I crawled on my fucking knees and left hand. And, like, especially during the beginning, you know, during, like, the healing process. And the doctor was like, yeah, you can't get these casts wet because, you know, if they get wet, you're going to get an infection. You're going to, like, be screwed. So I, like, literally needed help to shower, and she would just fucking scream at me, like, you need to take a shower. I'm like, I need help. Like, I can't do it, you know? And she was like, well, when you're here, you know, I would just, like, lay in this bed just in pain. For like that first like few weeks, yeah, like it sucked, you know, just door dashing food. She would get like all mad when I DoorDash food because I was so bored, you know. I was just door dashing a bunch of fucking garbage supreme on deck, you know, just like slopped over to the house, you know, whatever it was. Just like, it was a lot of money too. Like DoorDash, like, you end up spending a lot of money. And she just wanted me out of there, you know. She's like, you smell, you need to take a shower. I'm like, I need you to fucking help, like, wrap this up somehow. And she's like, when you're here, you're going to pay for your own stuff. I'm not taking care of you. I'm not babying you. But I'm, you know, after like everything was like kind of normal and like I could like walk a little bit, I just fucking left, you know, without saying anything. You know, I do that a lot. Like, that's like a common theme in my life. If something's going like wrong, because like everything was fucking fine until that point. You know, everything's good now, but like every time I get like friends and family, just unnecessary, like, just drama gets like fucking dumped onto me for some reason. I don't know what it is. Like, I just don't know. I don't know. I'm not good with people. I just prefer, like, I love living in my car for the time being. I don't mind it. You know, it's not like the worst thing in the world as long as like I stay sober and away from alcohol. I don't mind it, you know, because I have work to keep me occupied. The guy I work with is fucking cool, you know. I don't like really, I'm not a fan of like friends and family. So after that, I'm like, yeah, I'm definitely now for sure just done with like family. But yeah, you know, what I want to say, you know, about like the, you know, the sloppening, you know, the Chinese buffet and all that shit. So that's been something that I kind of got addicted to it like in 2023, I believe, like when I started living with my dad, because these places are fucking everywhere, man. Like there will be like Chinese buffets like on like every corner, I swear to God. I don't know how they stay open, because I just remember this one fucking day I was with my grandma, because, you know, my grandma, she would go to this Baptist church, and we would go to the buffet like every Sunday. And since like a lot of people, like lots of Southerners are like very religious, you know, as it is. And I just remember this one Sunday just pulling up there. There's so many fucking people. It was like just a random, like, I don't know, 12 p.m., 1 p.m. type of day. And these women, like the workers there, you know, they were just screaming at these fucking people, just telling them to leave. Because they, like, it's just like slop central. Like most people are like really heavy down there as it is. It's just, I don't know if it's just like the boredom, the unemployment, just because that's the thing. When you're bored, you just like eat a bunch of food, at least for me, you know. I wish in my life I had never discovered fast food, because like that's kind of like why I go to Chinese buffets and get fast food anyway. Like if I go like a certain amount of time without eating anything, I'll start thinking about like just some random fast food place, like oh, Wingstop, oh, Burger King, I could go for a fucking Whopper, yeah. And just order like an unnecessary amount of food and just eat it and then regret it like 10 minutes later, pretty much, you know. I have done a lot of water fasts in the past, you know, those were pretty difficult, don't get me wrong, but I've been on lots of diets before. It's just it's very hard to stick to them. It's extreme. Like, I know I can do it this time, but it just seems like everyone knows what to do to lose weight. They just don't do it. It's just like this weird discipline type of fucking thing that goes on, and like life circumstance and like stress. Like if I just ate like ground beef and eggs if I legitimately I actually might do that, because that's not really that messy, but like I might just cook that every day, just like ground beef with a little seasoning and like some eggs. But I'd need to, I don't know. I'd have to figure something out. I mean, I don't know. I'll figure something out. But like if I just did that every day, right? Throughout the day, just ate some like ground beef, like maybe like prepared it or something, like meal prep that shit for like the next 3 months, like you would see significant weight loss. But the problem is you're addicted to the fucking slop. You know, you're addicted to like stuffing your face with this hog shit, you know? And that's why, you know, the Chinese buffet, like I'll be craving it. I'll be like, and I don't even get like the good stuff either. I get like I'll get like dumplings, like the fucking sushi rolls, noodles, just like absolute bloat hogged shitted garbage, you know, just stuffing my face with it. 10 minutes later getting another plate and just overloading, you know, because I feel like it's like such a good deal. Like you could sit there for an hour and eat like, for at least for me, like $50 of food for like, you know, $13 or whatever, you know. But yeah, the southern states with the buffets, they don't fuck around. Like they will throw your ass out if you eat too much. Yeah, like, you eat too much, get out now, and you're gone. You know, I've seen it happen, you know. And I even remember this one time I was in the fucking bathroom, you know, all the stalls were occupied, and you know, I was just kind of standing there waiting, and I was like by the sink. I was like pretending to wash my hands, like just not to like fucking look awkward, because there was like a lot of people waiting to like probably just lay off just like absolute fucking logs in the toilet, because this one guy came out, guys, and he goes, like he's washing his hands next to me, and he just goes, "I'm sorry, buddy." And I was like, "What?" He's like, "You don't want to go in there." And he's like, I'm sorry. Like apologizing for shitting in the toilet. I think he clogged it, because when I because I was curious and I opened the stall, I've never seen a shit like this. It looked like it was vertical. It wasn't even like slopped off to like the sides of the bowl. It was like perfectly fucking vertical, like a I don't know, like an Indian rattlesnake. You know how like they have like the rattlesnakes that just poke their heads up? And I was just looking at this, and I had to leave after that. I swear to God, because there's just like so many people. It was really weird. Like it was that like in history, that for me, that has to go down as like one of the weirdest fucking things I've ever seen in my life. Just like you're waiting on this line for people who have to like lay off massive logs and toilet clogs, you know. I mean, Jesus Christ, you know. I feel bad for like the, the guy that has to like do the unclogging, like what do you even do? Do you just like remove the log with like a pair of like fucking, I don't even know, like you put on gloves, use like the tongs or whatever to like extract the shit out of the toilet? Like oh my fucking God, bro. I even remember one time, this was like a buffet down there too. There was somebody like shit on the floor, but it wasn't like a normal shit. It looked like throw up. And I just remember walking in the stall. It was like somebody like put their right ass cheek on the left side of the bowl and just shit. And it was just splattered everywhere. And I just remember walking out after that and just watching the guy come in with like the bucket and the mop. I don't even know if he knew that was there, but like, I was like, bro, this is like fucking bad. So far, like the buffets here, like I will say this, for Christmas, so it was like the first Christmas I spent alone by myself pretty much. And I want to say this was like the best Christmas I ever had. That's like kind of sad to say, right? Cause most Chinese places are open anyway. Like I had this fucking Jewish friend that would be like, oh, we always get Chinese on Christmas because they're always open. So that's why I went to the Chinese buffet. And I remember waking up really early. It was like really nice, like, I don't know, it was like the temperature was nice, the roads were empty. It was just really fucking peaceful. I loved it. I actually loved it. And I went to the Chinese buffet, ate a bunch of fucking garbage. I stayed there for like 3 hours. And there's like really nobody there. I was just like fucking, watching like documentaries and stuff, just like eating fucking shit, And I liked it because like Christmas at home, I mean, it never was the same. I mean, I don't know what it was. Like every Christmas, I would wake up to like fucking fighting all the time. Like it was never really peaceful, My dad would wake up fucking hammered and start drinking again as always. And like, it just wasn't really like, especially when my parents got divorced too, like it was just, we would always be fighting with each other. And then we'd have to go to these random family gatherings, and I'd always be like, why do we have to go to this? Why? Like, why do we have to go to this family gathering? Like, I don't want to go because we have to. And it's what people do. And that was it. That was the answer, and then they'd be fighting, a few beers in, my uncles would be at each other's throats for holding some grudge over some fucking bullshit from like 10 years ago. Like, dude, or not even 10, like fucking like 50 years ago. My uncles are old as hell, they're really old. They're in their 60s and 70s, man, like something over like 50 years ago. Like, and I would just be sitting there quietly and they would always come up drunk, like, you don't talk, your kid's weird, like saying to my mom, your kid's a weirdo, he's not talking, he doesn't talk. Because I've always been the quiet person. I always just observed everything. I never had a chance to really get a word in anyway if I wanted to. People would always talk over me and drown me out, so I just kind of learned to shut the fuck up and just sit there and just listen, I was always the quiet kid in school and all that type of shit, and I just, family gatherings and all that, and just Christmas sucked. I hated Christmas, I hated fucking Christmas. I just didn't like it, and then and this year it was peaceful, it was nice, it was actually really nice. Didn't mind it at all, just like walking around, streets are empty. It felt like that, what the fuck is that show called? The Last Man on Earth. You've ever seen that before? I don't think I've ever watched it, but I've seen clips of it. This guy just like, the whole world he's the only person left in the world, and like everything's like just vacant and empty. Like that's how it felt. And I'm like, this is fucking nice, But yeah, I gotta lay off the hog slop trough garbage for sure, because I mean, I don't want to get diabetes, man. I'm kind of worried I have it. Like, I doubt it, because, I mean, who knows? I don't want to, I'm just like, I'm always like scared to go to the doctor and like find out like if I have this, because I don't know if it's a scam or not, or if like, if it's real and all that. And yeah, I gotta lay off the Chinese buffet. I might actually go. All right, I'm a liar. I'm an addict. I might go. I'm craving it now. I might go after this fucking video. I might go to the fucking Chinese buffet, man. Fuck, I actually want to go now. shit. All right, yeah, this is gonna be a problem. This is definitely because ever since I stopped drinking, I'm just like so bored, and I've just been eating way more than I should, you know. So, fuck yeah, I gotta go. All right, yeah, I gotta go, guys. I gotta go to the fucking Chinese buffet. So, I'll see you in the next one. I guess that's pretty much it.